It has been 8.5 years since Metroid Prime 4 was revealed back at E3 2017, the year that the Switch 1 launched. I was only 13 years old, and now I'm old enough to drink. It's crazy that we have been waiting this long for this game, but it's finally here. And I wanted to give some of my initial thoughts on the game after playing it for a few hours, and I think this game is excellent. It is just really good overall. And to put it into perspective, I have played a decent amount of Metroid games. I've played most of the 2D games, though I've only played Prime 1 and the remaster of it on the Switch 1. I unfortunately haven't played the other Metroid Prime games yet. I really need to get around to doing so, but I love Prime 1. I thought that game was excellent, one of the best GameCube games. The remaster was very well made, and I would say Metroid Prime 4 still retains the formula in a lot of aspects that I loved about Prime 1. Each of the areas that I've been to so far are designed very well. I really like how the puzzles are laid out, utilizing both environmental elements and the psychic abilities. It feels very true to the other Metroid Prime games in that aspect. And the combat is also great as well. Like, it feels very faithful to the other games while also adding new things, like the control beam, which is pretty fun. And the boss fights are excellent. I really like the one in Fury Green, Carvex, where you have to use the control beam to kind of break their vines, kind of like go around and like break all of them at once. It's really fun, and I feel like all of the bosses that I've played so far are really engaging. Like, you have to try to dodge attacks while trying to like figure out how to attack them. It's just really fun, and I am really enjoying it so far. And this game just also looks incredible as well. It's kind of insane that this is essentially just a Switch 1 game upgraded on the Switch 2. And for reference, I have been playing this game on the Switch 2. I'm not really sure how the Switch 1 version looks, but I just think this game looks absolutely incredible on the Switch 2. Like, walking around through Chrono Tower at the beginning of the game, or going around Fury Green where it kind of does that one camera pan of the area, just looks incredible. And then there's also Volt Forge, which looks really nice. And even the desert area, which some people were a little critical of, the Soul Valley, I still think that looks pretty good as well. Just all the areas of this game just look very creative and visually stunning. And it's also in 4K on the Switch 2 as well. Maybe not natively, but it still looks really nice. And it's really smooth too, because it's still 60 FPS. There's also a mode for 120 FPS as well. I haven't tried it out because unfortunately I do have a 60Hz TV, but it still is nice that the option is there, even though I don't really care too much if the FPS is like super high, because 60 is good enough for me. I still think 60 is pretty smooth and looks pretty good, especially since they were able to get this game running at an upscaled 4K or 1440p. It just looks really nice. I really like all of the visual effects as well, like with Samus's visor and the arm cannon, how it interacts with the environment. Like, sometimes you could see the reflection of Samus's face, or you could also see the visor and arm cannon like interact with water and steam and various things. It just looks really nice, and it really kind of adds to the immersion of this game. This is something that they already did in Prime Remastered, but it looks even better here. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is the bike and the desert sections. I think the bike is pretty fun, despite the fact that it doesn't really add too much to the game. I think it's just a fun mix-up in gameplay. I like when games do that sometimes, and I feel like it breaks up the game, kind of giving a little downtime between the action, and it's fun to control as well. So I do think the bike is a fun thing in the game, even though it wasn't entirely necessary. I don't think it's a detriment to the game at all. In the desert area, I know it was a little controversial before the game released, but honestly, I don't really have a problem with it at all. It really just seems like a glorified hub world. And again, it feels like something that kind of breaks up the gameplay to where there's like a little downtime between each of the areas. I think that's perfectly fine. I've played a lot of games that do a similar thing, and I appreciate when some games do that. But there is one weird thing that I'm critical of though, and that is the fact that there isn't any music that plays on the bike in the desert unless you use the amiibo figure. I think that is kind of ridiculous, honestly. There really is no excuse for that, and that is one thing I'm never going to defend. But then, one final thing that I wanted to talk about are the Galactic Federation characters, with Miles McKenzie specifically being the one that shows up at the beginning. I know there was a lot of controversy around this character too, but honestly, he really isn't that bad. His lines are very tame compared to other cringy characters, and he doesn't really feel like that stereotypical MCU-style character. And his escort mission isn't even that long. He doesn't really stick around that long. He's only a major part of the story for about like 20 to 25 minutes. He does show up in like little calls after that, but I think you can disable that, and you could also disable the voices in the game as well. So it's really not a huge issue, honestly. Well, I meant that of course, because Miles McKenzie is one of the greatest video game characters of all time, and he needs his own spin-off. Miles McKenzie sweep! But anyways, Metroid Prime 4 is an excellent game so far. There are a few flaws here and there, and it's not the perfect game, but I am really enjoying it, and it definitely feels like a true Metroid Prime game. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments, and anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!